Hey guys, this is Dia's Life and welcome back to my channel. So today's video, I'm going to be doing a story time video. Before we get into this video, make sure you guys subscribe down below, smash the like button, get this video to 30 likes, and also turn on that bell to get notified every time I post a new video. And hopefully you guys like this story time video. I talked about that I was going to do another one soon, and I might as well record it right now before it starts to get dark up in here and the light changes. We're going to get right into the So this is going to be the story time of me quitting my last job, quitting my TJ Maxx job, because I know a lot of people did not really see a whole lot after I posted this video, which was my TJ Maxx orientation. Thank you guys so much for 2.1 views on that, 2.1K views on that to be exact. I never had that many views on a video ever before my channel. How I got started and why did I resign? So how I got started on TJ Maxx, I went onto their site, tjmaxx.com/careers. I went on their site, I applied, and at the time I had an interview. Well, I had went to an interview at McDonald's. I also went to an interview at Burger King. And well, Burger King actually wanted me to interview with them, but I just did not go. And I had an interview at Wendy's, but I just did not get the job. And so I checked my email like around late June, early July, and they wanted me to come there. So I was like, hi. So they did a phone interview. And after the phone interview, I went to the in-person interview and I impressed the manager. And so she was like, yeah, you have to commit to staying here for 6 months. And, you know, we'll consider, you know, she'll take me into considering into actually me getting the job. I was like, okay. So I agreed that I was going to stay there for 6 months. So I started in late July, and the salary I made was $9 an hour. And so I did my training days. So I got paid for my training days. And after my training days, I actually was starting to work next week. So I worked 4 days a week and I only worked 5 hours, or it was like 3 or 4 days a week. So I would have 3 days on and 3 days off, or 2 days off, or something like that. It was kind of crazy. My schedule was not consistent. My schedule was from, maybe some days where I would have to be there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and then get off at 8 o'clock in the evening. But by the time we do by the time we're doing closing and all that, it's about 8:30. And it will be dark by the time I get on the bus. So I had to get on 2 buses to get home. I had to down the block because I lived in an apartment complex and I didn't have no car. I still don't have no car, but I didn't have no car. And I got dropped off a couple of times by a couple of my coworkers. So that was nice. I was happy to have that because most people don't have that at all or aren't willing to give them a ride or anything. So I was really grateful to get a couple of rides from my coworkers, and I was glad that they were able to do that. We're going to talk about my coworkers. My coworkers were nice. I got along with all my coworkers, so it was definitely not a toxic environment. My schedule was just not consistent. I would start one week, I would have my schedule one way, and the next week my schedule would be different. It would not be conclusive, like, at all. And so my pay, we're just going to get started with pay. So like I said, I got paid $9 an hour. So I would bring home $100 flat. And that really didn't do that much for me because I had to pay to get a bus pass. I had to pay my phone bill at the time, and that wasn't cheap. And for a month, bus pass was like $60 something. And so I really didn't stretch that far. And then I had to pay a bit for rent. So it definitely was not, because I really haven't had a real job outside of school before. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to do part-time. But in reality with part-time, I was not making barely any money. I would ask to get more hours, and because I was part-time, they weren't willing to give me hours. And that kind of sucks. So when I would get hours, I would get, like 150, which was just an add-on to what I already was making, which was 100. But that's basically the only thing that was an increase. That's how much I made. And I basically struggled for the time that I was working there, financially wise. And, I would try to get extra hours and stuff. And, so it was just crazy. But what I did when I was doing, I was doing running go backs. I did register once. I had, what else did I do? Oh yeah, I cleaned up the different aisle, like the beauty aisle and stuff like that. And we had a area. So when we would go on our break, we would have noodles, and then they had, chips and stuff like that. And it was free. And I've never had that before. And that was really cool. We could also have breakfast burrito. We could have whatever we wanted. We could get as much as we wanted. They would have muffins. And so they definitely were considerate in trying to feed their employees for free. So we didn't have to worry about food, which was good. But if we did get tired of it, there was Whole Foods, but Whole Foods was not cheap. And some people had cars, so they could just go somewhere and get something to eat during their lunch break. But lunch break, I think, was only 30 minutes. It wasn't as long as where I'm at right now at SeaWorld. We get 40 minutes. So it is a little bit different. But yeah. So aside from my pay and all that, I worked there for a total of 2 months and a certain amount of days. And I'm going to explain why I did not work those months. So where I was at, the state that I was living in and stuff, I did not want to, I was going through personal things, and I really did not feel like it would have been smart for me to stay there for the 6 months. I was struggling to just stay there for the certain amount of time that I was struggling for. And it just wasn't working for me per se. And it was just something I had to give. So I remember I went to work one day, and they were like, oh, so they called me and they were going to say that it was a no call, no show. And I was just that was not true, because I was not supposed to be working that day, whatever. And I had to explain it and stuff. And I just really did not want to get in trouble, because I was just I really needed the job. I wasn't trying to get fired, because I really needed the job. And I just really just started breaking down because of personal stuff that was going on. And it was just a bit much, because I was really struggling financially, with just me making that salary was just not enough. And so it wasn't enough making it part-time. No way. So that's why some people had to have another part-time job, because it's just not no money. It's not enough money, to do the things that, you need to do. And so, they were willing to, offer me counseling and all that. And fast forward after that and stuff, I was okay. So I was going to work full time. I was thinking about it. I was considering it. I was going to take it into consideration, because, it was kind of I was being pushed basically to try to work a whole lot more. And then, it was just not, I'm not going to really talk about it. But aside from the personal aspect, I was just I just wasn't making it, for one. That was the thing that was really just not really it. My coworkers were good and all, but I just wasn't making enough money. And I was gonna work full time, but I ended up changing my mind. Why I changed my mind was because I would have made more money, but I basically was planning out okay, I asked him first, before I even decided to do full time, could I transfer stores? Because I already had some experience at the store I was at, but I had not been there long enough. But I wanted to see if it was possible for me to transfer to a TJ Maxx out in, out here. And they're like, oh, they couldn't transfer me because I wasn't there for a whole 6 months. And at the time, I was only there for 2 months. So I wouldn't hit my 6-month mark until January. It would have been January of this year. And I was just like, I just didn't picture myself staying that long. And so I was just like, just made the decision to just come back to Cali because it just wasn't really working. And I was just like, everything just didn't seem like it was gonna go. Even if I did work full time and I did make my money and stuff, I still don't think I would have been happy, because I was already, at the time, I decided to go back to school, and I was going back to school out here, and I wasn't gonna go back to school out there. I was just like, I just didn't want to do it. And I just felt like I could grow being in Cali than being there. And I was just like, you know what? I just made that decision. Was just like, I'm going to work here for this amount of time, and I'm thinking about resigning, and that was the decision that I decided to make. I had to quit and stuff. And people were like, oh, why are you quitting? I quit because, like, are you in school? I was like, yeah, I quit because I was going to school, but I was also going to be moving too, It wasn't just about school. It was just about me moving, and I think things happen for a reason. I struggled when I moved to Cali. I tried to actually work in another TJ Maxx, but they did not hire me. They're like, oh, they're not hiring. We're not hiring. So I couldn't get back into a TJ Maxx, even without me even working at the other one I was working had to work there for 6 months. But yeah, everything else was good about the job. I just didn't get, part-time. I just didn't get paid enough. And my personal life too was just not what I wanted, what I entailed for myself. And I just felt like I wanted to grow, and I struggled for months trying to find a job. I tried to get into TJ Maxx, and I couldn't get into it. And I applied to a bunch of different jobs, and I basically didn't get successful until April. So I was really struggling from the time after I left TJ Maxx till now, to like the new year. So it definitely was hard. It definitely wasn't easy, but I think things happen for a reason. I'm able to keep this job. I'm grateful for this job, and I want to work at this job for at least like over 6 months, before I resign. And then I would like to go into my career, after I worked at SeaWorld for like at least over a certain amount of months, like at least a year and some months at the most, a little bit longer if possible. But that's what I want to do for myself. I want to have 2 different careers and do other stuff. So I'm going to plan it out the way that I can. But yeah, that's the reason why I quit TJ Maxx. I quit TJ Maxx because I ended up moving. The pay wasn't great. My coworkers were good, but it was just, the other stuff just wasn't matching. It was just not matching up. And, it just didn't make any sense. They basically, I would say it, but I'm not trying to get in trouble, but I will say this. They just basically, I will say that they could not pay, they could not pay part-time people that much money, because there was people that were being full-time and they had to get benefits, and that's just what it was. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Because I'm not trying to get in trouble, but that's the actual truth. People that were working full-time had to get them benefits. We were not getting no benefits because we were part-time people, and we got paid what we paid. So yeah, I'm definitely with the job I got now because obviously I'm in a different state. I get paid more and I get to learn a whole lot more where I'm at. Only thing probably is, you know, I don't have that same a whole group of people, like how basically like you don't have all the same people that you see the same people every day. You do, but they don't all work the same days as you, so it is a little different. And I work in, you know, with SeaWorld being an amusement park, it's definitely not the same atmosphere. It is, but it's not at the same time. So yeah, that's why I quit TJ Maxx. Hope you guys liked this story time. If you did, make sure you guys subscribe, like this video, get this video 30 likes, and turn on that bell to get notified every time I post a new video. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, dear squad.